Sorry, I'm a minute late here. I've been having a little bit of technical difficulty, but anyhow, I'm cutting and pasting in right now. There we go. Um, our yoga survey. So, as you guys know, this is virtual yoga at GOCA Wellness Wednesday. My name is Dr. Debbie Pates. And back in the olden days when we used to meet in person, I would, or rather, you guys would need to sign up online and then you would get sent a survey. And we're trying to reinstitute the survey, get a sense of how you guys are interacting with this online platform, what you want, what we can do to better serve you. So if you wouldn't mind taking a couple of minutes and doing the survey, it really is only a few minutes. For today's flow, we're going to use a block and a strap. So if you have those things, maybe go and get them. I'm going to back up and move over to my own mat. I don't know why I'm bringing this shirt with me here. I have my same flowers from last week. I kind of like the yellow side. I'll show you guys the yellow side. And let's get started in child's pose. Knees wide or together, forehead on the mat. And start to breathe consciously in and out through your nose, allowing yourself to come to a space of yoga very mindfully and very deliberately. Normally, this is a very high stress and hectic time of year. It's the 23rd, so tomorrow is Christmas Eve. For a lot of people, that's a very significant day or Christmas Day, and this year's gonna look a lot different. It just is. And so allowing yourself to settle into whatever it is for you. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, this time of year still is looking pretty different for all of us. And you know, we just passed the solstice, winter solstice, and we're gonna do a mandala flow. We're gonna do it really slowly. The winter solstice is the longest night of the year. Night comes earlier, day comes later. And it's a nice time to kind of slow down. You know, lots of animals hibernate and the world sort of slows, and we can slow too. It's okay. It's okay to slow down sometimes. And that's a beautiful thing that this practice can offer us, is a time to pause and slow. Even if we're actually moving at a pretty decent pace, it's a time to slow. And another beautiful thing about winter solstice is it marks the return to light. And what's really cool is the vaccinations for COVID have started to roll out, and that feels like a slow but real return to the light from this darkness that the pandemic, that this virus has imposed on us. But it's been a time to slow down. And so maybe now, as we are excited that it is a return to the light in a different way, to appreciate this slowness, stillness, this pause. You know, sometimes I remember one time I was out of a job for about 6 months, and I just stressed and stressed, and I was applying for jobs, and finally I got a job, and I was starting it in 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks were like a vacation. In my mindfulness practice yet, but you know, that whole 6 weeks, I could have enjoyed it a whole lot more differently. But we can't always do that. So now that we know we're returning to the light, we're coming up again, right? More and more of us are going to get the vaccination. We're going to start returning to the normal pace that we miss so much, but maybe that can also make this slower time that much sweeter for the amount of time that we have it left. Push up onto your hands and knees and start to do some cat cows or whatever you're wanting from you. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Inhaling and exhaling as you move. Adding in whatever movements your body wants today. And maybe for this practice, in honor of the solstice, in honor of the slowing, you really allow yourself, give yourself permission to take your practice down a bit. It's still going to be, we're going to do this mandala flow. You can put a ton of energy into that. But what if you gave yourself permission to just take it down a bit today, to not need to push as hard as you always do, to maybe even acknowledge disappointment with the way things look right now, because there is a lot of that going around. A lot of different sorts of negotiation. Bring your body back to neutral and step back to a high plank. And then from high plank, lower your body all the way down to the ground. Untuck your toes. Roll your shoulders up and back and down. Pull your shoulder blades together. Have your arms be sort of like elbows up, in by your sides, hands just by your shoulders. And then on an inhale, come on up to cobra. Really working your spine. And then on an exhale, come down. 5 of these. Inhale up. You can use your hands if you want. Roll down. You can just work the muscles in your back. 3, come on up. Exhale, come on down. Let it be like a wave. Roll up. Come on back down. And then come on up. Maybe put some weight in your hands. And pull your heart forward and your shoulders back. And breathe. And then come on back down. Keep your hands where they are. Tuck your toes. Push up to a high plank, push-up position. And then lift your hips, downward facing dog. Bend your knees and send your hips high. And then you can allow your heels to sink back down. Really let your hands be flat and firm in the earth. Connect with your fingertips. Maybe kind of squeeze your mat with your fingertips a minute. Let your heels sink. Let your fingers rest on the mat. Palm feeling really flat and connected with the earth. Noticing the tricep muscles and the backs of your arms working here. Noticing your shoulders working here. Noticing perhaps a lift from underneath. A lift from behind your hips, lengthening in your spine. And then a bunch of baby steps. Walk to the top of your mat. Don't be in a hurry. You don't need to be. We're not in a hurry this practice. We're never in a hurry, but especially not today. Hang in ragdoll. Try to bring the weight a little bit forward, more into the balls of your feet. You could even lift up your heels and drop for a second, and then put them down and just notice how the weight stays rolled a little bit forward. You can bend your elbows and clasp opposite elbow, or tuck your hands into opposite elbow. Or you can let your hands hang down. Let your head be heavy. No wrinkles in the back of your neck. Shake your head. No, I'm not gonna compare this to every other year, because it's not anything like every other year. And yes, shake your head, yes. I'm going to remember that in fact no year is like the other. Release your hands. Beginner's mind, appreciating everything as anew, as if you've never done it again. Before, rather. Roll up to standing, because you know what? In fact, you haven't. You rolled up to standing in yoga practice before, but you haven't done it today. Well, maybe you haven't done it today if this is your second practice. Appreciating this for what it gives you and what it has to offer you today. When you get to standing, roll your shoulders up and back and down a few times. Drop your neck, drop your head, and roll it around on your neck. Reverse direction. Opening the neck, breathing as you do this. Noticing how it affects your shoulders. And then come on back to neutral. Inhale your arms up. Bring your palms together and pull your energy into your heart. Pause and stand here for a moment. Welcome to winter. Welcome almost to 2021. Inhale your arms up. Welcome to your own body. Bow forward, hands through heart center or swan dive. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. Keep your chin tucked so that your neck lengthens as well. Forward fold and then sweep your arms up and rise again. Bring your hands together overhead. Bring your energy into your heart, finding stillness, finding calmness on this windy day. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, dive forward. Halfway lift. Lengthen, chin tuck so your neck is long, shoulder blades on your back. Fold, put your palms on the mat and step back to high plank. Hold high plank. Lengthen your heels back and the crown of your head forward, as if you could create even more space in between your ribs. And then lower chaturanga. And then lift, upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Halfway lift, lengthen. Dive forward, forward, fold, rise up, up, up to standing. Bring your hands together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Fold. Lift. High plank. Take it down. Heart opens, heart opens. Downward facing dog. Look in between your hands. Make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Rise all the way up to standing. Bring your hands together overhead and bring your energy into your heart. A mandala is a circle. Inhale your arms up, making a circle perhaps here, and then chair, Utkatasana, sink down. Send your hips back, lift your chest up. Try to have your biceps by your ears. That's easier for some people than others. Some people don't have a very hard time at all bringing their biceps even behind their ears, but for me, it's the shape of your shoulders or your flexibility, or I don't really know what all goes into that, but don't stress about it, right? This is definitely not something to stress about. Forward fold. We're going to take this mandala flow really nice and easy. Halfway lift, lengthen. We'll go through it one time on each side. Come back to high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. First, let's just start the way we often do here. Let your left heel sink down a little bit as you lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, open up your hip. Don't go as hard as you always do if you don't feel like it. Maybe even play with not doing it on purpose. Or go as far as feels good. Don't worry about it. Bring your right leg back up and square your hip to the ground. So turn your pinky toe down. Doesn't matter how high your leg is. And rock forward with your leg up to high plank. And then lower chaturanga. And then come on back up, high plank. Three-legged down dog. Put your right leg down. So doing hard things with ease. Lift your left leg up and open up your hip. Letting it feel. letting your body, let your sensation be your guide, right? And then bring your left leg back up. Square your hips. Pinky toe down, rock forward, keep your leg up, chaturanga. Come on back up. Three-legged dog. Put your leg down. Now let's begin our mandala flow. That was just a little bonus. Step your right leg forward. Hand, foot by your hand. Heel and knee lined up. Spin your back foot flat and rise to warrior one. Try to square your hips to the front. Try to sink down and try to do it easily. So maybe even just sinking down a drop, right? You can go all the way down so that your thighs parallel to the ground. Knee is almost at a right angle, but you know what if you didn't? Open up warrior two. Reach here. Not straining, but being active. And then reach forward. Take extended side angle. Maybe rest your forearm on your thigh today. And open. Lift your left arm up. Breathe. Finding the breath in the pose, using the breath to stay calm in the pose. And then rise up, straighten everything. Turn your feet parallel, 5-pointed star. And then open up, warrior two, to the back of your mat. Flip your left palm, reverse warrior. And we'll pause here, just letting it feel good. Again, sinking into your knee as much as feels good. You can have your right hand, I have mine on my right rib cage today. I don't know why, it just feels good. You can have it behind your back, reach, and then windmill down. Come to the back of your mat, high plank. Facing the back of your mat, high plank. To chaturanga. To upward facing dog. To downward facing dog. And again, same side. We're going to make our way to the front of the mat. Step your right foot again forward. Spin your back foot flat. Rise up. Warrior one. And then open. Warrior two. Reach. Extend. Maybe this time you have your bicep by your ear and your palm faces the floor. And you reach and you pull from the edge of your left foot through your left fingertips, and then come on up, 5-pointed star, straighten everything, feet parallel, warrior two back to the front of your mat, flip your left palm, reverse your warrior. And windmill down. High plank to downward facing dog. And then we move to the left side. So step your left foot forward. Knee underneath, heel underneath your knee. Spin your right foot flat. Warrior one. So again, like on the other side, how much do you want to bend your knee? How much do you want to really work your back hip toward the front? Maybe you want to really go for it, 90 degrees. And that can feel great. But what can also feel good is giving yourself the permission. And sometimes we do need to give ourselves the permission, open up warrior two, to not go as far, to not push as hard. There are days for pushing. Absolutely. Reach forward, extended side angle, forearm on your knee, reaching up with your right hand this time. And there are days for not pushing. 5-pointed star. Turn your right foot, warrior two, to the back of your mat. Flip your right palm and reverse your warrior. So I like to sometimes put my hand on my rib cage, actually to remind myself not to collapse too much into it, to lift up and then back, not just windmill your hands to the back of your mat. High plank to downward facing dog. And one more time, left foot steps forward. Right foot flat. Virabhadrasana 1. Virabhadrasana 2. Reach, extended side angle. Maybe this time bicep by your ear. 5-pointed star. Warrior 2 to the front of your mat. Flip your right palm reverse. And high plank. Making your way to downward facing dog. Not judging yourself by what your practice looked like any other day, and not judging your practice yourself by what your practice looks like today, and not judging your practice. Is being with, right? Here's what's showing up today. Isn't that interesting? Drop your knees. Walk to the middle of your mat. Walk all the way to the top of your mat on your knees. And stand up on your knees. Bring your hands to your low back. We're going to do camel. So you could tuck your toes. Some of you, I mean, if you know camel, let's just go. But what you want to do is keep your hips over your thighs. Lift up and then come back. Not crunching in your low back, but lifting, trying to get as much opening through the mid and upper back as possible. And then if your toes are tucked, untuck. Sit down on your heels and just take a few breaths. Maybe just place your hands on your thighs and look down. You can take a child's pose if you like. A child's pose is a rounding of the back in the opposite direction as we just did. Let your breath even out. And then another camel. Opening our hearts. Stand up on your knees and go. I like to think about back bends as heart openers because that really helps, well, for one, take the stigma out of back bending that a lot of us have, but also reminds us, maybe place your hands on your low back here, reminds us to open our heart and squeeze your elbows toward each other and lift up with your hands and up with your heart. And then come on down. Untuck your toes if they were tucked. Sit on your heels. And this time, let's keep taking it a little further. Hero's pose. Separate your feet wider than your hips. Sit in between your heels. And you know what we're doing. So if you're good here, you're good here. Nice big opening in your quadriceps and your thighs. And if you want or need to go further, then do so. And the only reason you would need to go further is if sitting upright, you're not getting sensation. You're not feeling anything. It's something. But we don't want to feel something that is unbearable. We don't want to feel something that's excruciating. We want to find that sweet spot, right? As Brian Kest says, between not enough and too much. Just breathing. Being still in this posture. Being okay with the stillness. Being okay with slowing down sometimes. Go on to your hands and knees from wherever you were. Shake out your right leg and your left leg. And then step back into high plank and make your way to downward facing dog. Bring your big toes into touch. And spin your heels to the right, coming into side plank. You can always modify by dropping your left knee onto the ground. Reaching, or your right knee, sorry. Reaching your left arm up. And then bring your left foot into tree on your right thigh. And then look down. Bring your left arm down, swing your left leg down. Come into a runner's lunge. Well, not a runner's lunge. Drop your back knee into a lunge. Drop your back knee. And let's come first into crescent moon. Back knee is down, sinking into your right knee, keeping your lower ribs tucked, maybe opening through the front of your right hip flexor, stretching the psoas, a deep stomach muscle, and then bring your hands together to your heart and take a twist. Right elbow outside of your left knee. Unwind your twist. And now let's come into runner's lunge. Bring your hands to the inside of your right or left foot. Toe heel your left foot up toward the top of the mat. Bring both elbows in, both hands to the inside. And maybe you drop to your elbows. Maybe you drop all the way down, whatever. Letting it feel good. Maybe here, I asked you to grab a block if you have one. Maybe take your block and rest your head on the block. So you really are letting your brain just drop here. Focusing on opening through your left thigh, hip, wherever you feel it. We're going to add a twist in a minute. But right now, let your head rest. Another breath. If you don't have a block, you can always stack your fists and rest your head on that. And then lift your head up. Come on up onto your hands. You might need to move your left foot in a little bit. Bend your right knee, reach back with your left hand and grab your right foot. And then pull your foot in towards you as you roll your shoulder open. You might come onto the edge, the pinky edge of your left foot here. Weights on your right hand. Try to come to the top of your knee, right knee. And then release. Bring your left hand down. Step back to high plank. Lift your right knee up and make your way to downward facing dog. Hold down dog. And then bring your big toes into touch and roll your weight, roll over onto your left side, high plank, down dog to side plank. Edge of your left foot or your left knee, left hand, right hand reaching up with energy. But you don't have to strain, just doing it like you mean it. Bring your right foot to tree on your left leg. And then look down, bring your hand down, and step your right foot forward. Drop your and come into crescent moon. Reach your arms up. Sinking into hip flexor, Whatever feels nice to you. As Baron Baptiste says, don't try hard, try easy. Hard, you just strain and create tension. You create exactly what you're trying to let go of. Hands to your heart, twist left knee. All right, so think about how weird that is. We come to yoga to relax and get loose, and we strain, and we grit our teeth, and we tell ourselves, you're not doing a good enough job. Wow, that's interesting. It's pretty counterproductive, isn't it? But don't yell at yourself. That's counterproductive too. Release, runner's lunge. Grab your block and rest your head. Toe heel your right foot up and sink down. So even if you don't manifest this position on this side in the same way, you could still rest your head. So if you go down further or not as far, you turn your block in whatever way it needs to be turned. Right, but if you notice, oh my God, I'm supposed to be in yoga getting loose and relaxing, and here I am straining and yelling at myself, just say, huh. Look at that. Rather than yelling at yourself even more, because you start to pay attention to our patterns. We see how they work for us. Coming into the twist. So lift yourself up, come onto your hands, bring your right foot in a little bit more. If you need to, reach back with your right hand, grab your left foot, not your plant, and then roll open. Shoulder, maybe coming onto the pinky edge of your right foot. Rolling your right shoulder open, maybe looking up. A big stretch for the back quad. So honoring what you're feeling. Breathing into it. Letting your body open, having gratitude for your body, for all it does. Release. High plank to downward facing dog. And come to the top of your mat. We're going to do a little bit of balancing. So if you have a strap, have your strap handy. I'm going to take a drink here. Let's start with eagle. You don't need your strap yet. Bring your big toes in to touch. Inhale your arms up. Chair. Eagle pose. Right arm under. Right leg up and over. And find where you'd like to be in this position today. So a lot of times I'll give you a whole bunch of cues. I'm not going to give you any cues today. I'm just going to say find what feels good. Find how far you want to go. And then release. Stand up. Chair. Eagle, left arm under, left leg up and over. How's your jaw? If your teeth are clenched, let go. Stand up, release. Let's do that one more time. Right arm under, right leg up and over. And this time, bring your torso parallel to the ground. Engage your stomach muscles. Engage your back muscles. And then step your right foot back to crescent. And stand up with your arms still in the eagle bind. And bring your elbows up. Keep going up. Challenge your balance. Looking up. Opening your heart again here. Whoa, it's tricky. Do your best. And then come on back up. Unwind your arms. Step to the arms up. Left arm under. Left leg up and over. Torso parallel to the ground. Breathing as you move, as you lengthen. Unwind your left leg, step back to crescent, and begin to lift your arms, your gaze. Lift your attitude. Lift your elbows. And then come on back, unwind, step to the top of your mat. Let's do dancer twice. First with strap, without strap. First without, bleh. One time with, one time without. So if you have the strap, take it. You can, if you have a loop in it, you can certainly use the loop, but you don't need to have the loop. You can just take your strap. Anyway, take your strap and hook it over the ball of your right foot or the arch of your right foot, whatever you like. And then lift up your right foot and bring your hands up, grabbing the strap. And try to have your hands really close to each other and your elbows in by your head, facing forward. And you can walk your hands down the strap. Maybe some of you can even grab your foot. But this is why we're using the strap, because most of us can't grab our foot. So we just put our body in a similar shape, getting the same benefits, right? We're stretching all those parts of our body. We'd be stretching if we had our foot, but we're just not that open. Release and rotate. Left foot in the strap. Hands toward each other. You want your knee going straight back, not out. Elbows in by your head. Maybe walking your hands down the strap, maybe just letting it be loose, or not loose because your foot's pushing into it, but not going as hard as you can, just going how hard as you want. And then release. Let go of your strap. Let's do a little detour before we do that again. Inhale your arms up. And then with soft knees, bow forward. And let's take gorilla. Slide your hands underneath your feet, palms up, feet maybe about hip width distance here. Lengthen your spine. And then begin to lengthen down. I meant lengthen your spine out, but it doesn't matter. Because the idea is to lengthen your spine, lengthen the whole back of your body. So a lot of us feel this in hamstrings, backs of our legs. Engage your stomach here. Definitely engage your breath here. Shake out your head again if you want. And then release your hands. And roll up. And now, dancer without the strap. So, bend your right knee. Bring your left arm up. Bend your right knee. Grab it with your right hand. Bring your knees back in to touch each other and begin to kick and reach. Letting the kick open up your shoulder here. Trying to keep your right hip point, the front of your right hip facing the ground. Reaching and then release and switch sides. Right arm up, left elbow by your rib cage. Grab your left foot. And let your left knee go back behind you. Keeping the hip point down. You might feel a nice stretch when you're really in the front there. When you really deliberately keep that hip down. And then release. Come to the top of your mat. And if you aren't there already. And have your block handy. Shift your weight into, turn your palms forward. Shift your weight into your right foot and begin to tilt forward into airplane. Dekasana. Most of us are not flying much of anywhere this season. So fly now. Fly here on your yoga mat. Let your spirits lift. Bring your hands to your heart. And then begin to open up into half moon. So here's where you might use your block underneath your right foot. Opening up, right hand, sorry. Opening up. Lifting your left arm, lifting your left leg. And then release. And stand up. And we'll do the other side. Shift your weight into your left foot and begin to hinge forward. Coming into airplane. Breathe. Hands to your heart. Open up, half moon, other side. Not being mean to yourself, just letting this practice, it's just a yoga practice. And then release. And come to standing at the top of your mat. Inhale your arms up. Fold, fold. Keep your block handy, halfway lift. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. 2. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, spin your back foot flat. Come to warrior 1. Warrior 2. Straighten your right knee, reach forward, triangle. Try to create length, wherever you can create length. Maybe that's just length in your breath. Come on up. Turn your feet parallel. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, open your heart and bow. Prasarita, wide-legged forward bend. Maybe your hands are underneath your face. Maybe you're grabbing the outsides of your heels or your legs. Play with rolling your weight forward again. Balls of your feet. And then bring your hands to your waist. Elbows up. Lengthen and rise. Turn your right foot forward and step your left foot in a little bit closer. Turn both feet forward, coming into twisting triangle. Lift your left arm up. This is where you might want your block. Right hand on your right hip. Come forward, halfway. And then bring your left hand down. Sorry, I said right hand on your hip, left arm up. Halfway down. Left arm can come directly underneath. You could soften your right knee. Left arm can come underneath your left shoulder, onto your right thigh, right shin, or onto the block outside of your right foot. And then maybe you lengthen your right arm up to the sky, and maybe you look up at that arm. Sorry, that was a kind of messing up those cues. And then come on down with your body. Bring your hands down to the ground and just step back to downward facing dog. Left foot forward. Warrior 1. Warrior 2. Left knee straightens, triangle. Practicing gratitude for these moments that you're giving. Practicing gratitude for your body. Practicing gratitude that sometimes the days are short and the nights are long and we can slow down. Come on up. Parallel your feet, clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Bow forward and let your hands come off your head. Off your hands off your back, toward over your head. Letting the breath help you lengthen. And then bring your hands to your waist, and with a flat back, rise up. Turn your left foot toward the top of your mat. Turn your right foot toward the top of your mat and scoot it forward a little bit. Keep your left hand on your hip, right arm up, and moving into twisting triangle. So come down halfway. Right hand either underneath your right shoulder, on your left shin, or on the block on the outside of your left shin. Lift your left arm up. And try to keep your spine lengthening here. There's a lot going on in this shape. And then release. And actually this time come down to your knees. Come down to your knees. Cross your feet behind you. Sit. And roll all the way down. Bring your feet out in front of you. And roll down onto your back. If you have a block, grab your block. In the name of having a quieter practice, what I'd like to do today is a supported bridge. Ben, you could take, actually I'm going to give you guys some options here. So while I'm talking, bring your feet together and let your knees go wide. Bring one hand onto your heart and one hand onto your stomach. And sink into the mat. So we're going to do either 3 bridges or one long supported bridge. Okay? So I'm actually going to grab my timer here and decide what it is that seems like it's going to work the best for you today. And begin to set up. Plant your feet on the mat close to your hips. If you're using the block, take the block and up your hips and figure out where you want the block to be. Maybe slightly just under your butt, maybe a little bit more toward your sacrum. It shouldn't hurt. And also decide which direction you want your block in. How high do you want to go? And we're on the clock. So I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds here. If you're staying, stay. And if you're releasing, release. Take it down. And if you took it down, bring it back up for another 10 seconds. And if you're staying, just stay. If you're up, take it down. Take a few breaths. Set up, and then go again, lift. You got about 15 more seconds here. Even if you weren't using a block, you can use a block now. You can remove your block, whatever feels best to you. And then release. And roll down. And bring your knees into your chest. And gently rock left to right. Gently rocking left to right. And then drop your knees to the left. Take a gentle spinal twist here. Just both knees to the left, letting your right arm go right and looking to the right. Come on, center and hug your knees in. And then drop your knees to your right. Turn your head to the left. And come on back up and hug your knees in and rock up and down. Rock along your spine a couple of times. Let it feel good. And then come to seated. Plant your feet. Seated half pigeon. Take your right ankle and cross it across your left knee. And bring your hands flat, maybe even on fingertips. You know where to go with this. Take it where you need to. tightening it if you have to. Keep your heart open. And then walk your fingers back if you walk them in. Lift your hips up. Let your right knee open up, a one-legged tabletop. Letting your right knee come down toward the floor as your knee stays on as your ankle stays on your left knee. And then come down with your butt. Let's turn this into a seated twist. Bring your left foot in, right foot to the floor outside of left thigh. Right hand comes behind your back. Lift up and twist. Right elbow, or no, left elbow. Right knee. Reverse, open up your twist. Sometimes people even like to bring their chest toward the floor in this kind of twist. And come on up and straighten your right knee. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Janu Shirshasana. Lift up and bow forward over your right leg. Trying to get the crown of your head beyond your right foot so that you're always looking for length rather than rounding your spine. You want to lengthen it out. Softening into it. Opening, softening into gratitude. Not pushing to get there, allowing your body to open as it will. And being grateful for wherever your body is. If your body has an injury, then your body's working to protect itself. That's why it's sending you those messages. Don't fight it, honor it, roll up. Bring both feet flat on the ground again. And this time, hands behind your back. Cross your left ankle cross your left ankle on top of your right knee. Seated half pigeon. Breathe. Opening your heart. And then walk your hands back. Tabletop. So tabletop, I think it's a harder position than it looks like. Trying to lift your hips as high as you can. Opening, letting your left knee hang kind of, so that you continue opening in the outside of your left thigh, wherever you feel it. Left hip maybe. Bring your butt down. Right foot comes towards your left glute. Seated twist. Left foot on the ground on the outside of your right thigh. Bring your left hand behind you. Right arm up and twist. Right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Open twist, bowing if you choose. Come on up, straighten out your left leg, right foot to the top of your inner left thigh. Arms up and forward fold over your left leg. Again, reaching as far forward as you can at the crown of your head. Honoring where you are on this side of your body. Noticing differences without becoming reactive to them. And then come on up. Straighten out both legs. And roll onto your back for Shavasana. Lay all the way down on your back. And let go. So we've got 5 minutes for Shavasana today. And I am going to be quiet, but I want to reassure you that I will talk you out of it. And what I mean by that is, don't worry that I forgot. Don't worry that I just turned my computer off. Don't worry that because you don't hear me, You ran out of time. Make a little noise. I know that when I'm doing yoga and my computer goes quiet, I get a little agitated, like, oh no, did it go blank? Did I lose internet connection? So every so often I'll say something. But I'd rather that you use this time, rather than waiting for my next words, to tune in to what's going on inside. Tune into your breath. Enjoying the stillness. COVID vaccine means soon-ish there'll be an end to this. That also means there'll be an end to this, which is in many ways a good thing, but there'll be losses as well. Just like winter solstice means a return to the light, it also means a shortening of the darkness. Honoring what is in the time that we have it. We have 2 more minutes. Let yourself be here. Let yourself have this precious time to be quiet and still. Soften your jaw. Soften your face. Soften. One more minute. Breath is long but soft. And then start to bring movement back into your body. Gently reawakening, maybe rolling over onto one side and bringing yourself up to a seated position. And when you get to seated, keep your energy directed inward, maybe closing your eyes. And I invite you to come to a space of gratitude. So I know I've been talking about this windmill project sculpture that's up by the Heller Center. You can actually see it if you're coming out of University Village by the Trader Joe's entrance there. If you're coming out of it, you can straight ahead is the windmill project. And maybe gratitude that today is a windy day and that night comes early and that we can walk with our headlamps, park in the parking lot there and walk, I don't know, not even a quarter mile, and see this project lighting up because the wind and the night and the sounds that it makes, and everything is fleeting and everything is special. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're not going to have practice next week. This always used to amuse me, and I guess it still does. I'll see you guys next year. Namaste. Stay warm, stay healthy. Please fill out the survey that I put the link in the comments.